They had been together for 25 years. Stability, routines, shared morning coffee, and wine-filled evenings with the news humming in the background. Everything felt solid, time-tested. But one sentence shattered it all. What if we opened up the marriage? That was the trigger. Not just betrayal, but a calculated, cold dismantling of trust. Not just cheating. A transformation of the woman he believed to be his soulmate into a stranger with a smile that never quite reached her eyes. She didn't leave alone. And then she came back, as if nothing had happened. But memories don't erase, especially when they're synced to the cloud. One click, and the truth was there, exposed like a scar. No screaming, no scene, just a freezing calm and a point of no return. You think you know someone until they take off the mask. And it turns out it wasn't a mask at all, just a face that was never meant for you. Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you stopped by my channel. If it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, as every like truly inspires me. Please tell me which city and country you watched this video from. Now let's get started. I used to think my life was straightforward, not boring, just stable. After 25 years married, you find a rhythm. You come to know the tiny details, the habits, the triggers, the little things that light them up or shut them down. Sable and I had our routines carved out over time. We'd start the morning with coffee, check in with a call by lunchtime, share dinner, and wind down with wine while the evening news murmured in the background. It wasn't perfect or particularly exciting, but it was ours, and I genuinely believed that was enough. Our children had moved out, both off at college, starting their own chapters. The house was quieter now, sometimes painfully so, but we still had each other. We still shared the inside jokes, the casual touches, the kind of memories you could hum like old tunes. I was sure she understood me better than anyone else ever could. Maybe I depended on that too much. Then came a Thursday evening that, at first, felt completely routine. She took her spot beside me on the couch, remote resting in her hand, eyes flicking toward the silent TV. And then, without turning my way, she said, "Can I ask you something? And will you promise not to freak out?" I looked at her, amused. "That's one hell of a lead-in." She gave a quiet laugh, almost nervous. "I mean it." "Okay," I said, trying to keep it light. "I'm listening." She took a moment, just long enough for a breath, and then it came. "What would you say if I asked to open our marriage?" For a second I thought she was joking, honestly. I laughed out loud, but her face didn't change. That smile stayed stuck there, like it had been glued in place, waiting. I blinked. "Wait, what are you actually saying?" She shifted, turning to face me more directly, arms hugging her torso. "Not like a full-blown thing. Maybe just a one-time experience, a hall pass, or something we'd do together. It wouldn't mean anything. Just something different. Different." That word hit like a slap. "You're serious?" I asked, my voice low. "I'm not saying we have to do it," she said quickly. "I just think it's something we should be able to talk about." My heart was racing, but I forced myself to sound calm. "Where is this coming from?" She spoke softly, like she was trying to cushion the blow. "We've been married a long time, Brian, and I love you. I really do. But I think maybe we've gotten a little too comfortable." "So you're saying you're bored?" I shot back. My tone was sharp, clipped. "That's not what I meant. It's what it sounds like." She let out a breath and tucked her hair behind her ear. "I just want to feel something new. Not with someone else instead of you. With you. Together." I couldn't even look at her. I kept my eyes fixed on the black screen in front of us, doing everything I could not to fall apart. I didn't sleep that night. Not a minute. I lay there, staring at the ceiling while Sable slept beside me, facing away, her breathing steady, as if she hadn't just changed everything. "Open our marriage." That phrase looped in my head like a stuck melody. We'd built a life together, 25 years, raised children, dealt with jobs, loss, illness, joy. We'd made it through everything, and now she wanted to explore like we were in some college experiment. For the next few days, I said very little. I stuck to my habits, made the coffee, walked the dog, answered emails, mowed the lawn. I kept waiting for her to bring it up again, to admit she'd had too much wine, to tell me it was just a passing thought. But that moment never came. She carried on like she hadn't dropped a grenade in the middle of our shared life, like nothing had changed. By Sunday night, I couldn't hold it in anymore. We were cleaning up after dinner, rinsing dishes and loading the dishwasher. I shut the door with more force than I meant to. She looked over. "Everything okay?" I wiped my hands on a towel. "No," I said. "Not really." She leaned back against the counter, arms crossed, waiting. "You're still thinking about it, huh?" "Of course I am," I snapped. "You asked me if we should sleep with other people, Sable. That's not something you just move past." She gave a small shrug, but I could see the wall go up behind her eyes. "It was just an idea, Brian. We don't have to treat it like a disaster." "Not a disaster?" I stepped closer, keeping my voice low but firm. "You called it exploring. After all the years we've spent building this life, you want to throw someone else into the mix and pretend it's some kind of bonding experience?" Her gaze narrowed slightly. "You're being dramatic." "No," I said quietly. "I'm being real. You want me to be okay with watching you with someone else? Or worse, acting like I'm into it too?" "That's not what I meant," she said, shaking her head. "We could do it together. A lot of couples try it. It's not the end of the world." "Well, to me it is." She looked at me then. Not like my wife. Not like the woman I'd spent decades beside, but like someone studying me from across a divide. And then she said something that made my stomach turn. "You're just afraid of change." That was the moment it all clicked. Something had changed in her, or maybe it had always been there, hidden just beneath the surface, too subtle for me to notice. Maybe I trusted too easily, or maybe I just didn't want to see it. I told myself to let it go, to stop overthinking. Maybe she was just going through something. A midlife shift. With the kids gone and the house so quiet, it was like the silence had found its own voice. People behave differently when their routine gets broken. Still, something about her felt off. The clues came quietly, almost respectfully. Her phone never seemed to stop buzzing. She started updating her wardrobe, spritzing perfume just to run to the store. The gym became part of her schedule, but she'd return as if she hadn't lifted a finger. And then there was that smile, small, guarded, like she was in on a secret I wasn't meant to know. I didn't want to pry. Truly, I didn't. But one evening she nodded off on the couch and her laptop screen glowed from the coffee table. There was a profile open, not her main one. No photo, no real name, just a generic icon. Still logged in. I hesitated, then clicked. And what I found was exactly what I didn't want to. There were threads, forums, whole communities, groups centered around swinging. Her username even included our anniversary. That detail crushed me. She had been chatting with strangers, dropping into explicit discussions, reacting to posts about partner swapping and meetups. This wasn't playful or vague. It was stark, unmistakable. And then I saw the message that made my stomach drop. "See you Saturday night. Can't wait to finally meet." I froze. Saturday. 2 days away. She'd arranged it all without breathing a word to me. Not yet, anyway. But she would. Saturday came and I was in the kitchen, drink in hand. She entered like a vision, wearing a dark red dress I hadn't seen in years. Her hair styled perfectly, her nails polished, eyes glowing. "Big plans tonight?" I asked, steadying my voice. She smiled. "Actually, yeah. I've been meaning to bring something up." I stayed quiet, waited. She stepped in closer, almost radiant. "There's a gathering tonight. Something different, private, For couples, people who are more open to new experiences. I kept my face blank, acting like this was new to me. What kind of gathering? I asked. She smiled wider. A swingers event. I blinked, unsure I'd heard correctly. A what? A swingers event, she said again, like she was describing a weekend brunch. I meant to talk to you about it earlier. I was hoping you'd come with me. You were going to invite me? I said, the words sharp. To watch you with someone else? She rolled her eyes. Brian, don't be so dramatic. It's just a social event. It's not cheating if both people are on board, she added. But you already signed up, I said, my voice rising. You made plans without ever talking to me. She folded her arms. Because I knew exactly how you'd respond. You're damn right, I snapped. I responded like someone who thought we were partners. For 25 years, I believed we were in this together. You don't blindside someone like this and expect applause. Sable shook her head. You're stuck in the past. Relationships evolve. This brings people closer, Brian. It's supposed to strengthen what's already there. I took a step back, stunned. You really believe that? Her expression didn't waver. I do, and I want to try it. With you. The silence that followed was heavy. Then I spoke, slow and firm. If you walk out that door tonight, if you go to that party, we're finished. No discussion, no return. She looked at me like I was speaking gibberish. You're actually serious? More than I've ever been, I replied. She exhaled, glanced down, then brushed past me, picked up her purse and left. Just like that. Gone. I stayed rooted where I was, fingers curled tightly around the counter, watching the door swing shut behind her. The quiet that followed felt conclusive. I didn't move. I just sat there, lights off, trying to trace back the moment things had begun to drift. When did I stop seeing her for who she was? When did she start slipping away? A year ago? 5? I couldn't say. At 1:42 a.m., the garage door hummed to life. Her car was back. She had returned. I didn't get up, didn't ask. I didn't want to hear anything. Her heels tapped softly across the floor. Keys dropped into the ceramic bowl near the door. The fridge opened. A bottle cap twisted off. A glass set gently on the counter. Silence. Then she strolled past the living room like she'd only stepped out for coffee. Still awake? She asked casually. I said nothing. She paused in the hallway, waiting. When I didn't respond, she sighed, like I was the unreasonable one, and disappeared into the bedroom. I stayed exactly where I was, frozen. Time blurred. At some point, I reached for my phone. I wasn't searching for anything specific, just killing time. More out of routine than purpose, I opened my photo gallery and let my thumb slide through memories. Frame after frame appeared, the two of us grinning, the kids as toddlers, candles on cakes, sun-soaked beaches, an anniversary dinner in Rome, scenes from a life that once felt complete. I'd been trying to come to terms with it all, to make peace with the fact that this chapter was truly closed. Then something caught my eye. A video, untitled, only marked with a timestamp, barely 2 hours old. My chest tightened instantly. It must have synced automatically. Her phone was still connected to the cloud. I froze, staring at the thumbnail. The soft glow of a hotel lamp, the silhouette of a wine bottle, and her arm, Sable's, clearly visible, the silver bracelet from our 15th anniversary glinting faintly. A sick feeling twisted in my gut. I tapped the screen. The video started with her face close up, cheeks flushed, eyes dancing. She laughed, voice playful and light. "Record this for me," she said to someone off camera. "I want to remember it." She stepped back, and they stepped in. 3 men, shirtless, touching her like she was some prize they'd won. She didn't recoil. She welcomed it. She kissed one, then another, whispered something into the ear of the third, making him smile and pull her in tighter. She was glowing, vibrant in a way I hadn't seen in years. There wasn't a trace of hesitation, no hint she carried the weight of a marriage, a home. I paused the video, unable to keep going. I sat there in the quiet, the phone heavy in my hand, its screen now dark. This wasn't some party she stumbled into. This wasn't just infidelity. She'd filmed herself, consciously, deliberately, being intimate with 3 strangers, and unknowingly handed me the proof like it was another vacation memory. No more uncertainty. No more second-guessing. This wasn't a lapse in judgment. It was a choice. When morning came, I emerged from the guest room. I hadn't slept, just stared into the dark. Sable was already in the kitchen, humming as she poured coffee, like she'd returned from a weekend spa, not from that. When she saw me, she offered a gentle smile and slid a mug toward me. "Morning," she said, as if nothing had changed. She suggested a drive, maybe lunch by the lake. I said nothing, just looked at her. Her smile faltered. "What?" she asked softly. I pulled out a chair and sat down, placing the phone on the table between us. "Sit," I said. She hesitated, but obeyed. In that sliver of silence, I saw it. The exact moment it hit her. The cloud. The video. But it was already done. I opened the file. Full screen. Pressed play. She watched without a word. Watched herself laugh, undress, give herself away. Her voice echoed through the kitchen, cheerful and intimate. An open betrayal. When it ended, I turned off the screen and looked at her. "I didn't know it uploaded," she whispered, voice paper-thin. "I don't care," I said. "You still did it. You smiled through all of it." Her eyes welled. She reached for my hand. I moved away. "It was a mistake," she pleaded. "No," I replied. "It was planned." She stood and began pacing, stumbling through excuses. She felt lost, unsure of herself, disconnected. She talked about fixing things, therapy, starting over. I asked her one thing. "Then why were you smiling in the video?" "You didn't seem lost. You looked alive." She stopped, opened her mouth. Nothing came out. I stood, calm, icy. "I'm done." Panic flooded her eyes as she moved in front of me. "Please don't do this, please. We have a family. You can't throw it all away over one night." "You did," I said, "the moment you walked out that door." I brushed past her. She called after me, crying, shaking, begging, but I didn't turn back. There was no undoing this. I didn't sleep that night either, just drove. Nowhere in particular, just the road and the hum of tires slicing the dark. My hands clenched the wheel like they were the only things holding me together. My phone wouldn't stop lighting up. Calls, messages, voicemails, all from her. "Brian, please, call me. I'm sorry. We can work through this. It didn't mean anything." That was the one that shattered me most. It didn't mean anything. But that video, the woman in it, she looked like she'd never felt more alive, laughing, moaning, surrendering herself to strangers, while I sat at home with a whiskey glass, still believing I could salvage something that had already died. It was just after 3 a.m. when I pulled into the same quiet park where we used to bring the kids on lazy Sunday mornings. I killed the engine and sat there for what felt like hours, letting the soft flicker of the street lamps paint slow-moving shadows across the dashboard. Eventually, I reached for my phone and typed a final message to her. "There's nothing more to discuss. I'm filing first thing in the morning." Then I blocked her. The silence that followed felt like a breath I hadn't taken in over 20 years. By the time the sun came up, I kept my word. I walked into my attorney's office, handed over a flash drive, and said, "This is all he'll need." It was a video, but there were no words in it. None were necessary. I wasn't out for revenge. I just needed to close the door. And once I started, I didn't slow down. Every shared account, canceled. The locks, changed. Her things, packed up and set on the porch before she got back. When she arrived, she didn't speak. Just loaded her arms with what she could carry and left without a single glance back. I called the kids, told them I was here whenever they were ready to talk. I reached out to my sister. I even told Michael, my best friend since middle school. I wasn't hiding. I wasn't ashamed. I hadn't done anything to be ashamed of. 2 days passed before Sable reached out. She came to the house, but I didn't open the main door. We stood divided by the mesh of the screen, two people who once shared everything, now barely recognizable to each other. Her face was pale, hair loosely tied back, no trace of her usual polish. Her voice wavered. "Brian, I messed up. I was scared. I didn't know how to talk to you." I gave a small nod. That might have been a good place to start. She blinked rapidly, wiping her eyes. I thought doing something reckless might make me feel alive again. "Did it?" I asked. A pause. "No. It made me feel hollow." Her gaze flicked past me toward the hallway. "Can I come inside?" I shook my head. "Not anymore." She recoiled slightly, like my words had hit her chest. "And the kids?" she asked quietly. "They'll hear the truth. Then they'll decide for themselves." She opened her mouth like more words were coming, but I shut the door before they arrived. That was the last time she ever stood on that porch. 6 months later, it was all finalized. Quick, precise, unforgiving. Sable tried to stall it, cried through mediation, begged for one more shot, said we owed it to everything we'd built. But the footage, her at that party, entangled with 3 different men, left no room for denial. There was nothing left to argue. We split our lives. I kept the house. She moved into a condo near the freeway. I never asked how she afforded it. Truthfully, I didn't care. The kids didn't take it easy. But eventually, they saw it for what it was. They were old enough to understand the layers. I didn't need to speak ill of her. They noticed who stayed and who disappeared. Weeks slipped by, then months. The house felt still now, not barren, just calm. The air no longer carried the weight of unspoken resentment. I stopped pretending. I walked more. Ate outside when the weather was good. Lost myself in small habits. Then, one evening, I laughed, really laughed, and it startled me. It had been a long time. One afternoon, while pulling the garbage bins to the street, I bumped into Daniel, my neighbor. Quiet guy, always respectful. We exchanged the usual small talk until he hesitated. "Hey, Brian," he said, voice a little tight. "Mind if I tell you something?" I raised an eyebrow. "Sure." "It's about Sable," he said. His tone was cautious. "Back before everything went down, I used to see her leaving the house a lot during the day. Figured she was out shopping or whatever. But one week, I noticed the same guy picking her up. Black car. Twice. Thought it was strange. Didn't mean much to me until later." My stomach tightened, but I didn't need to hear the rest. Daniel looked truly remorseful. "I should have told you, but I didn't want to cause trouble." I gave a slow nod. "You didn't do anything wrong." Inside, something shifted. That party wasn't where it began. It was just where she stopped pretending. She'd been slipping away for a long time, long before I saw it. And to my surprise, I didn't feel shattered. I felt unburdened. For years, I'd asked myself if I missed the warning signs, but now I knew. It wasn't that she got lost. It was that she was already gone, long before I noticed. She didn't walk away in one moment. She disappeared in pieces. But me, I was still here, still standing, still whole. That night, I sat on the front porch with a drink in hand, watching the sky fade from gold to purple behind the trees. It was the same spot where she and I used to sit and dream out loud about tomorrow. Now, it was just me. But I didn't feel alone. I felt peace. The kind you forget exists until it finally returns. This story has come to an end. What's your opinion? Share it in the comments, my friend. And if you liked this story, check out other exciting videos on my channel. I'll say goodbye until the next video. See you.